Okay, so I am done with my writing for today. It is Monday. It is the first day of the week. So first day of the week done. I don't know. I don't even know how to do these things. Anyways, okay, so yes, so we're done with the first day of the week of writing. I did 1 hour. I like 1 hours. I tend to focus a lot more with 1 hours rather than the 2 hours. I don't know. I always feel like about like at 45 minutes in, I start losing my concentration, and so I start wanting to stare out mindlessly at the window because the window is glorious and there's life outside, sort of. But anyways, so I like the 1 hours mainly because I don't know. There's just something about sitting down and cranking out an hour of writing. It's just easier to do than 2 hours of writing. I don't know. Anyways, it's working. Okay. But today went well. Today was a good day. Today was a good writing day. I didn't have a whole lot of time, so that's pretty much the main reason why I decided to do the 1 hour rather than the 2 hour, because I wanted a chance to be able to do this little vloggy thingy and still have time to be able to cook up a masterpiece of beef stew. Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, it went well today. To give you guys a catch up. I don't know. To give you guys a to kind of explain where I left off with my writing on Friday of last week. I left off in a really bad place, kind of in a negative place, not in terms of the actual writing or not in terms of the story or anything like that, but just mentally. I was just really out of it, just really not feeling myself, feeling my writing. It just was really negative towards kind of life in general, because if my writing isn't going well, then it's like life is awful. But yeah, so I wasn't feeling really good about it, and I was just kind of wondering what I was doing. I have about like 40 pages worth of material for this idea, this book thing, and I'm 40 pages into it, and I'm like, I don't know where this is going. I've got no clue. I've got no clue where this is going. I've got no idea for a conclusion. I have no idea what the end of the story is going to be. And that really like hit me hard. It hit me hard that I didn't know where it was going, and that I've worked so hard for the last month to get to this point and still really not know where I was going with anything. And yeah, that was kind of hard for me to process and hard for me to understand why that was the case. And I think that largely has to do with the fact that I set myself up to have everything, like what I want in my existence in my life is to have everything figured out, right? Like that's something that we all want, right? Like we all want to have everything figured out. And I think for stories and for writing, that shows up a lot. Like I want to understand where this is going to go. And the problem with that is that I'm this creator, so I can't necessarily know where it's going to go until I decide where it's going to go. But at the same time, it's not really me deciding, but rather me allowing the characters and allowing the story to be able to take shape. And then at that point in time, letting the story kind of tell itself. So rather than me being its creator, I'm kind of more of a vessel for these characters that are already in existence somewhere. But it's my job to be able to give them a voice or something like that, you know? And anyways, yeah, I want to have everything figured out, and I want to be able to know where this is going to go. But at the same time, it's just doesn't work out like that for me. And so I had a conversation with my husband about it, and he was just really awesome, and as he always is, and just kind of gave me the freedom, or allowed me to give myself the freedom to be able to just write. Just write without the need for there to be an ending in mind, and write with the idea that I'm growing the story, write with the idea that I'm gaining information about the story, I'm gaining information about this world. And he asked me, like, that might take hundreds and hundreds of pages. That might take, thousands of pages. And are you okay with that? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking, my sweet, sweet time and writing this and getting this all together. But at the same time, there's always going to be a part of me that's just like, let's get things done. Okay, let's get this figured out. Let's get a plan. Let's get like this organized, And I think that just goes to show that I just have this, dichotomy, this, two, two mindsets in my brain of like one of this just really like loose, easygoing, mindset of just like, let's just go creative, let's go with the flow, do whatever feels good, And then I also have this other side of me that is just like plans, spreadsheets, everything in a nice, neat, tidy little box, and the joy of checklists. And so I have that dichotomy inside of me, and so it shows up a lot in my writing. And when I was a kid and I would write, I didn't have as much of that planning, organization, efficiency aspect of myself. I was just very like, write what feels good in the moment, And there's aspects of that I want to keep, and aspects of that I don't necessarily want to keep, because I think that as much as I want to write whatever I want to write, at the same time I don't want to write anything that could potentially not be wrong, but could potentially not, don't know. But anyways, I still want to be in control of my own facilities and control over, what I'm thinking about and what kind of output I'm putting out. I don't want to write without an ounce of self-control, because I don't necessarily think that, I think, if people want to do that, then that's fine. And I think that there's value in ranting things out and writing and things, that kind of idea. But at the same time, for my own writing, I want there to be an aspect of self-control, like how I want there to be an aspect of self-control in everything that I do. I don't want, my feelings, my emotions, everything about me to just be running rampant, Not that I want to be just like this tight, controlled little person bubble thing, but at the same time, I want there to be, a balance between, my self-control and self-awareness and my freedom that I have. And I think that they exist, they exist at the same time. And so being able to write in freedom while also having an aspect of self-control, or having self-control, being free within that self-control is kind of my ultimate goal for my writing and my life. So, but yeah, so today went well. Today was a good writing day. I appreciate good writing days. they don't always come. Friday was a hard writing day. And so, yeah, with those words that, my husband gave me of just, go exploring, see what kind of world it is. That's kind of what I did today. And I just kind of explored. I kind of explored the origin story a little bit, the creation story. I talked about creation and destruction and the moment before each one of those. And yeah, and that was fun. So yeah. Anyways, I'm excited. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I don't know. But yeah, I think that even though because Friday was such a rough day, I was feeling really just anxious and nervous about what kind of writing day this was going to be for me. So I'm pleasantly surprised and pleasantly happy. I'm pleasantly happy. That seems strange. But yeah, I'm happy that it turned out to be a good day, and I get the chance to be able to talk about it a little bit with you guys. I hope that this all makes sense. It's really just me rambling. But yeah, so the other aspect to it is that I kind of ran up against today, that I ran up against last week as well, was that I'm not always sure how a Christian should write. Do you guys feel that way at all? And because of that, there is an aspect to my writing now that I am a Christian, that I'm unsure that it's almost like there's a voice inside of me that there's only one story that should ever be told, and that's like the story of the Bible, or that's the story of, Jesus, and then that's what I should be employing all my efforts and all my writing and all my skills into. And I'm not saying that that isn't the most important story, but I also do believe that stories in general are extremely important, and a variety of stories are extremely important. And the rehashing, the retelling of like the origin story of the Bible, and the rehashing, the retelling of different aspects of the Bible, there's there's definitely importance to that, and there's definitely entertainment to that, and there's something good to be had for writers who can do that and do want to do that. But at the same time, it's not exactly what I want to do. And I want to tell, many different kinds of stories that are going to touch on truths of the Bible, of the world, of our humanness, all of that. But at the same time, that story is so powerful inside of me that I find myself drifting towards retelling it. And I almost have to stop myself and try to think more creatively, not because it's a bad story to tell, it's the best story to tell. But at the same time, I want to challenge myself to even like draw out those truths and be able to touch on those truths in a new way, in a way that could potentially, spark interest in people's life, not just specifically about Christianity and not just specifically about God, but just a conversation, a conversation to talk about the soul, to talk about humanness, to talk about the human heart, the condition of the heart, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of, my hope and my joy, to be able to do that. But at the same time, it takes a lot of conscious effort to not just immediately go into that zone of just be like, oh, this works. we'll just talk about this again. And at the same time, when I get stuck in those moments where I end up just kind of rehashing and retelling that story, the biblical storyline, I find myself being constricted to who God truly is and who am I, and my representation of him in my text. When you are, or when if I decided to write a story that was very biblical, in terms of an analogy of sorts, or allegorical writing of sorts, it there's an aspect to it that's very constricting, very constraining, if you have a godlike character, because people will, you definitely have Christians, but then you probably have non-Christians as well, who look at this character, much like Aslan, or some other godlike character, God represented, I can't even say the words, character, and they'll put him up to the God of the Bible, and it's never gonna compare. It's never gonna be exact, but at the same time, they're gonna compare it, and they're gonna say, well, he can't do that because the God of the Bible would never do that, and so there's an aspect of just constrictedness when you do have like a God type character inside of your writing. And so I've been kind of fiddling around with that and trying to figure out how I want to navigate that, whether I do want to do more allegorical writing. And if I do want to do more allegorical writing, then what kind of, how do I want to represent God? What aspects do I specifically, want to push to the forefront? Which ones, do I, or no, not necessarily push to the forefront. I wouldn't need to pick and choose, but at the same time, it's more that excuse me. I don't know, there's just kind of a fear involved of who I would be representing. I don't know. Or whether I could do a good enough job of representing the true God of the Bible, through my little allegorical character thing. So as much as possible, I want to kind of keep it open and keep it free and not make it too specific, not too allegorical towards like this is the God of the Bible kind of character, in order to just kind of free myself up a little bit. The more I can free myself up in this process of writing, I think is the best. Yeah, because I just want to take advantage of the freedom that I've been given on many different factors and many different ways. And so I just want to step into that freedom rather than, I don't know, allow myself to be constricted to one thing or another. I just want to be able to, write freely. but still touch on those truths and still touch on the things that are really important, So anyways, I think that's probably it for today. We'll see how tomorrow goes. Hopefully it's a good day. I hope that it is. I'm gonna go make some soup because soup is delicious and it's cold.